Hello and welcome to today's channel discussion hosted by Westcoast and HPE. My name is Stuart Wareham. I'm the GREENLAKE commercial lead here at Westcoast, and today we'll be exploring the opportunities within hybrid cloud and in particular HPE's hybrid cloud GREENLAKE consumption platform. Like I say, my name's Stuart. I'm joined this morning by my colleague David Anthony, who is Westcoast Technical Solutions Evangelist, which I think you'll agree is a very great job title there, David. We also got Scott Thompson on the call. Scott is one of the foremost hybrid cloud GREENLAKE worldwide sales specialists. We also have a special guest today. We have Martin Bradbury, who's the UK leader for GREENLAKE, and I'll be handing over to Martin very shortly. A little bit about Westcoast. So in fact, a little bit about me, in fact, just kind of for those who do know me and those who don't. I've been in the channel for the best part of 20 years now, 10 years on the reseller side, 10 years on the distribution side. We've seen obviously many innovations over the last couple of decades, and cloud has been absolutely massive in the last decade. The race to the cloud, giving our customers greater choice, moving away from those traditional sort of on-prem solutions and giving customers choice to actually host their data and applications elsewhere in public. So we'll be exploring that with the chaps on the call today, with David, Scott and Martin. A little bit about Westcoast. Again, some of you will know who we are. Some of you on the call maybe don't know who Westcoast is. I'm going to make a very bold statement, a very bold claim, and I will back this up. We are the best HPE distributor, full stop. And it sounds very bold. It is a bold claim. Back in June, HPE's channel partner get together, HPE Discover, usually in Vegas, obviously in lockdown, it's a virtual summit. We received 2 awards from HPE. We received the UK and Ireland Distributor of the Year award for the 2nd year running, which is quite some achievement when you consider the stiff competition we have here in the UK. So it's a real credit to my colleagues and management for winning that 2 years on the bounce. More significantly though, we also won the Global Distribution Partner of the Year. That is hugely significant because Westcoast is a UK and Ireland based business. So to secure that award from a tier 1 vendor like HPE, it's absolutely massive and demonstrates that all the changes and all the things that we've done over the last couple of years have really resonated and made a difference. When you think about distribution though, it does kind of conjure up a number of associations and a number of images. When you think of distribution, you might think of a massive warehouse full of brown boxes that are delivered next day. And do you know what? We have a massive warehouse based in Andover. It's the size of 10 football pitches. We do have a warehouse full of brown boxes and we do ship them next day. So that is a part of what we do. But I think we move beyond being a distributor though. I don't really think of us as a distributor. I think of us more as like a technology solutions partner to the channel. Now, we deliver, and the reason we've succeeded in being UK and Ireland Disti of the Year and the Global Disti of the Year is that we listen to what the channel needs. We listen to your customers. We deliver this based on the foundation that we have a best-in-class approach, that we deliver a centre of excellence as Westcoast. Being the best at HPE, being the best distributor globally, we have to offer a value add service to the channel. We have to be able to complement the services that you can provide as channel partners. More importantly though, we need to listen to the needs of your customers. We need to be able to complement and support what you're trying to do with your partner, with your customer base. Being more than distribution and being a technology solutions partner means that we have to have that best-in-class foundation. Now, we deliver upon that by having the best technical solutions pre-sales team in the channel. These are the most highly accredited guys who are there to support you, to work with your customers, to find and deliver those sort of right-sized, best-fit solutions. This goes beyond just quoting servers and storage and networking. This is really understanding the drivers that, that are really driving your customers' businesses. To complement that best-in-class pre-sales team, we also have solutions architects covering both networking, hybrid IT, and hybrid cloud. And again, the value add that they offer is that these guys completely agnostic in their approach, in that they will design the best solutions to fit your customer opportunities, and obviously to work with you to help you succeed. In supporting all of this, in terms of how we deliver this back into the channel, we have a partner program called Ignite Plus. Now, Ignite Plus itself is a partner program designed to support and drive HPE growth. This is about having that best-in-class pre-sales team, about having the solutions architects there to support you. It's also about having business development managers who understand your requirements and can use the tools available to make sure that you succeed. It's about having a marketing team here at Westcoast who can help you get the message out, support you on social media, help you with content, help you drive campaigns. It's also about having a big desk as a service support function, being able to take away some of the admin pain for you as a partner, freeing you up to do more proactive things, chasing those leads, allow Westcoast to take away some of that admin. Having a big desk as a service as well also means that we'll be able to help you get the best price, to help you succeed, working with HPE to make sure that you're competitive against other competitors and making sure that we can make this as profitable for you as possible. Again, this is all delivered under our Ignite Plus program. We're here today, though, obviously, to talk about the hybrid cloud opportunity. Now, like I say, very pleased to have Martin Bradbury on the call today. So, Martin, I will hand over to you now. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart, and thanks everyone. Pleasure to be here. As Stuart said, I have the privilege of leading the GreenLake business for the UK. So that's all of the sales specialists and pre-sales resources that are out there in play, helping our customers and partners to be successful with GreenLake. In the interest of time, I'll cut to the chase. Why is this something that you guys should be interested in, and what's the market opportunity for you? Industry analysts predict between 7 to 10% decline in traditional CapEx spend in infrastructure and private cloud. Okay, so that is the business that most of us have built our success on, and most of us rely on to pay the bills day to day. Same analysts also forecast around a 17% growth in the consumption and as a service procurement models going forward. So, to be blunt, that is the direction and the way the market is going. Customers have seen the benefit they can get from public cloud in terms of the agility, the lack of upfront investment. But in reality, 70% of their applications are still in the data center and probably still attached to some fairly clunky mechanisms in terms of scaling and agility and management. So what we're bringing with GreenLake is that ability for them to experience all of the great and the good of public cloud for their applications that either won't move, they don't want to move, or they can't move. So put simply, we're bringing that cloud experience to our customers. From a HPE perspective, you will have seen our statement around transforming to an as a service and consumption company. So I won't go over that again, even though I just did. But what you will see is GreenLake is a business that's growing. So 50% growth year on year last year was their public stated figure, which is probably somewhere up there with the highest growth that the public cloud providers are seeing right now. More importantly, our channel business, which you won't see publicly stated, has grown consistently north of 150% year on year for the last 6 quarters. So, our channel business is absolutely critical to how we scale our GreenLake business going forward. It's critical to me in the UK. It's critical to us globally. For those that caught our Q3 results last night, absolutely stellar results for the company, I think, overall in the current climate. Really proud and pleased to see that, but particularly the GreenLake results. We had a record quarter for the GreenLake business, 82% year on year growth. So again, just underpinning that, this is absolutely critical to both the success of our business going forward. We've made those commitments out to the market and the shareholders to say this is the future of the company, and we're delivering on those commitments. And actually, I would say we're over delivering right now. So for those of you that are already on the GreenLake journey, congratulations. You're an early adopter. You have helped us through some of the learnings as we've gone through that. And I really appreciate your input and support. For those of you that already are heavily into public cloud services, but perhaps are leaving some of the private cloud revenue on the table today, GreenLake gives you the absolute ability to kind of deliver a holistic service for both public and private cloud to your customers. And for those of you that perhaps aren't yet on the GreenLake journey, but would like to be, I think now's the time. For those of you, and I recognise a bunch of names from the call this morning, so apologies because you're hearing some of this stuff for the second time, but we just announced our public sector memorandum of understanding with Crown Commercial Services for UK government. We briefed a number of our partners on that this morning. That is again another critical step in the journey on GreenLake. To be honest, I will say the UK market, interestingly, has been somewhat behind our global trend for GreenLake, but what we're seeing is that rapid acceleration. So I would expect this business to grow in the UK overall, in the kind of region of the quarter we've just announced globally. So that kind of 80% growth rate is where we think it's at. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for our partners. We're all in this behind you. Westcoast are a fabulous partner and distributor to us. They've invested really heavily in their capability. They've got some great people on the GreenLake team, people that really understand GreenLake, really understand how you can take that to market with your customers. And I think my final point would be GreenLake won't necessarily be for all of you. It might not be right for your business, and there will be an element of transformation that you need to think about as you go through the journey. But if you're of a mindset to want to move your organization more towards annual recurring revenue, you want to look at the cloud market, you want to capture that market opportunity for the 70% of applications that are not currently moving to public cloud, we can absolutely help you with that transformation alongside Westcoast to understand how you shift that model to move away from perhaps a traditional product and solution sell into an as a service and consumption sell. So I'm really excited, as hopefully you can tell, to be part of the business. I think it's a great place to be for all of us. And thank you for your time. I'll hand over to Scott to do the detail.
That's great. Thanks, Martin. Let's say just, I guess some housekeeping, really, something I should have added. If anybody has any questions, we have the Q&A sort of little thing down the bottom of Zoom. I think many of those who've been on Zoom will be familiar with this. So any questions at all, please put them in. I'll try and answer them live. And obviously, if there's any questions which exceed my capabilities, we've got all the experts here who can obviously chip in. So, Scott, thank you very much.
I'm going to come off mute. Thank you. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks, Martin. That's great. So yeah, as Martin said, I'm going to go through a little bit more context about what we're doing with GreenLake and how GreenLake works. And then we're going to touch a bit on what's in it for you as a partner community of partnering with HPE on GreenLake. So Martin touched high level on a couple of pieces of information there about the applications that customers are struggling with to get the benefits of public cloud. And I think that speaks to the digital transformation journey that we've seen over the last number of years. And as we kind of move into the second phase of that journey, we see, this challenge being addressed by HPE with GreenLake, and I'll come on to that in a minute. What I mean by that is, over the last 10 years, we've seen people move towards the public cloud, and as you can see represented on this image here on the slide, on the left would be a representation of the fast-moving speed and agility that people are able to access on the public cloud, and that's been a fantastic experience for those customers. In fact, 85% of customers that are experiencing public cloud are having a positive experience with it, and no surprise there, right? But what the frustration is this reality of data gravity, security, performance, compliance, that's meaning that 70% of applications remain outside of that public cloud environment. And the frustration around that is the inability to access the speed and agility that they can within a public cloud environment. We are now entering the next phase of digital transformation, where the customers are demanding that speed and agility everywhere. And so we need to get to a point where even in those on-premise infrastructures, we can release the problems that are caused by the inability move at speed. So a model is required that allows cloud not to be an experience that can only happen in a multi-tenanted off-prem situation, to an experience that can happen anywhere and everywhere. Enter HPE GreenLake. So as has been already mentioned, HPE GreenLake is the cloud that comes to you. So the cloud everywhere. You'll see in this illustration here that we're talking about in your data center or in a co-location facility, or in a customer data center in a co-location facility, in the edge, or in the public cloud itself. Of course, we do the public cloud element through strong partnerships we've got with the public cloud providers. What GreenLake offers is that self-service experience and the economic model of pay-per-use, with the ability to scale up and scale down as required, but only paying exactly for what you use, and managed entirely for you. So this is about driving those key elements of simplification into not only your customers' management of their infrastructure, but also the supply chain and the procurement process around that. It's about the economic model for sure, paying for having a granular view on what your usage and utilization is, and paying for only that amount. And it's about the retaining the control for those applications that are unable to move to the public cloud. And it's about delivering all of that with speed and agility. How do we do that? So HPE GreenLake is focused on delivering workloads to you, delivering workloads for your customers in a way that is very simple and straightforward to understand. So we're taking the conversation away from beginning with the technology, but beginning more with the outcome that the customer is looking to achieve. That way we can align what we're delivering from an IT perspective to the business outcomes of the organization we're dealing with. And then within here, you can see that we are, within this GreenLake umbrella, we're able to pre-configure all of these different workloads for our customers, regardless of if the workload is a compute as a service, storage as a service, VDI, SAP HANA. Many of you may have seen the recent announcements there about the increasing strength of our partnership there as well, and delivering them through a single pane of glass on HPE GreenLake Central. I'm going to leave HPE GreenLake Central to be covered in a bit more detail from David and the team at Westcoast there. But in short, what we're talking about is, regardless of where the workload's delivered, whether it's in your data center, co-location, edge, or public cloud, GreenLake Central will have a view of what the utilization levels are and what the costs are associated with that. And that allows our customers to see in a single pane of glass approach what the right decision points are going to be for the business on where workloads are placed going forward. Because what may be best placed in one location or instance today may be entirely different 12 months from now. So it's a continuous management and improvement of that orchestration piece as well.
Scott?
Yeah.
Don't know if you can turn your volume up a little bit. So I just had a quick question whether we can, some of the guys can't hear you. Don't know if you can crank it up a little bit.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, that's much better. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's great stuff. Just got
microphone placement got me slightly. Apologies for that.
Awesome.
I hope you caught everything so far. So what I want to do now is take it to a very straightforward slide that I'm going to explain the consumption model, because I think there's a real a mixed audience here. Some of you may be very familiar with GreenLake, some of you may be coming to it for the first time. So in this next slide, I just want to take us through a view that simply explains some of the way that will allow you to see how we're delivering this in a very different way to what you might see as, more traditional HPE route to market, or approach to the market. So on this graphical representation here, we've got cost up the y-axis, and across the x-axis, we've got time. So let's say that this time period is a period of 3, 4, or 5 years or even longer, whatever. It's a period of time through a customer's life cycle. So what we've got here is the usage of an organization, an example organization. This organization are growing in terms of their requirements on whether this is compute or storage or any of the workloads we mentioned on the previous slide. Over the period of time, their growth is not linear, and it doesn't happen in blocks. It happens through probably organic growth of the organization, new product launches, increasing in data that they're gathering, or perhaps acquisitions, whatever it might be. It's a growth trajectory, but it's lumpy, and there are downturns and there are upturns along the way. What happens in a traditional purchase mode with HPE is a customer would over provision on that initial need. So they would buy enough to know that we're safe, that we're not going to run out of capacity anytime in the near future. So they'd make a projection of what perhaps they need for the next 2 to 3 years, maybe longer, depending on the organization and their policies. So they over provision that need up front and then grow into it. Which is fine. That's in terms of if you have to manage the workloads on premise, and that's a great way to do it because it makes a lot of sense. So what we see on average, this is from numbers from 451 Research, is that 59% over provision on compute and 48% over provision on storage is what enterprises average. Now, every individual customer is going to have a different experience around this and different numbers, and that could be up for debate on a case-by-case basis. But regardless, this was from a large sample from a large independent research company, and that's what we see in the market for traditional purchase. And to be honest, most of the customers I speak to are pretty aligned with those numbers in general. So how do we get around that over provision piece, but still bring agility and speed to an on-premise infrastructure or co-located infrastructure? Well, it's simple, really. What we do is we shift the risk of that over provision and we manage it more tightly. So if in a traditional purchase model, an HPE customer has to project what they might need for the next 3 years, what we're saying is actually we'll work with you in partnership to understand the customer's need today. So if we can get to what the point is that the customer might need today, but put enough over provision in place that's going to account for the next period of time, whatever's sensible, and depending on the growth trajectory of the customer, but let's say 3 to 6 months, then we can install the amount that they're going to need in 6 months' time, but charge the customer based on what they actually use today, using the monitoring tools that we've got through our metering software consumption analytics portal, part of the GreenLake central portfolio. So what we've done there is we've reduced the over provisioning, yes, so there's less actually in situation, but we've also completely removed the risk of that over provision from the customer and moved it onto us. Of course, like any cloud experience, there's a reserve capacity in place, a commitment to HPE that should your usage drop below the reserve capacity amount, then we will we'll agree that the customer will pay at that reserve capacity amount. But if you look here, then there's our installed capacity, our actual used amount, and our reserve capacity. Everything from reserve capacity to installed capacity is entirely variable billing. So that's a lot of flexibility in there for the customer. And our delivery team and our software analytics allow us to manage the customer over a period of time and keep installing additional capacity ahead of demand, and giving the customer that flexibility to ramp up quickly and also ramp back down if the requirement's not there for a period of time across the life cycle. So that equates to a lot of savings on over provision. In fact, we see 30 to 40% savings on average for GreenLake customers on that area of over provisioning. Another challenge, of course, with the traditional purchase model is that time to deliver new capacity on premise. So the supply chain challenges that I mentioned earlier. 59% of enterprises wait 3 months or longer to provision new capacity. So what we're doing is, obviously through that analytics software, is delivering capacity ahead of demand and making sure that that buffer is in place, or that variable capacity is in place for the customer to continue to scale up. Because of course, in a traditional model, this situation where the need for capacity intersects with the line of actually having it delivered and provisioned, it can happen. And it leaves customer in a position to have either low or slow performance, or just an inability to deploy a project that would otherwise be able to start delivering revenue for them sooner. So a number of challenges can be presented through that GreenLake eliminates. But it's not just about provisioning hardware and about capacity planning and taking away the need for over provisioning. It's a large part of it, but GreenLake is a service experience. So we're delivering this installed, set up, and maintained over the life cycle of the contract. So it comes with the HPE data center care, which is the highest level of service that we deliver on the portfolio. And data center care is a flexible service, so we will tailor the SLAs to support the requirement of your customer and the uptime and service expectations that need to be met there. Additional capacity is easily procured. That's what we talked about in terms of easing that procurement supply chain process, and that's all driven by the capabilities we've got in our software with our advanced metering on consumption analytics and our capacity management features through the utility delivery manager. So that's a little bit of the mechanics. Now, I don't want to go into any more detail than that on GreenLake. What I want to talk about is some real world experiences that our customers have had. So this there's some statistics here that aren't projections. They're not our understanding of what should be possible. This is real life statistics from Forrester Consulting, who have done a total economic impact study of HPE GreenLake active customers who've made the investment and made the move across to HPE GreenLake. This survey was conducted in May of this year, so very fresh off the press. And the customers fed back, yes, we bought into HPE GreenLake, we made this investment. Now here's the real world experience that we're having and the real benefits that we are seeing, and that is a 75% shorter time to deploy projects on-prem. So agility, absolutely taken care of there. You know, reducing that 90-day time of the average enterprise installing additional capacity to minutes, because the capacity is already there ahead of the demand. That capital expenditure saving, eliminating the need for over provisioning. I mentioned already this statistic, 30 to 40%. That came from our customers' feedback of their reality of what they're seeing. In terms of control and insight, a 40% increased IT team productivity. So that comes from the fact that the IT teams don't need to spend their time managing the infrastructure. They can focus on looking at the outputs and insights that are coming from GreenLake Central and take the action required from there. And of course, we're reducing risk as well by reducing the unplanned downtime by 85% as well through the data center care and the service level delivered by HPE and the Pointnext Services division as part of the portfolio. So that's from a number of our customers that have given that feedback. And just to speak about this this reduction in savings as well, there's a great example that I can use here from somebody who saw even in greater savings than this. So one of our customers, CGI, Jorg from CGI stood up at HPE Discover. I don't know if any of you watched that. Jorg stood up at HPE Discover and talked about the investment that they've made with HPE GreenLake and how actually, because of the supply chain efficiencies and the what he described as 100% commercial utilization of the infrastructure, they were seeing a 70% reduction in the total cost of ownership of their investment into HPE GreenLake from what they had before. So a great testament to the experience that that customer had. In terms of, I just want to wrap up. I'm aware that we want to move on and get some of the great detail from Westcoast about the partnership that we've got, and Martin touched on the strength of that partnership. We have a lot to thank Westcoast for in the way that they've provisioned around this solution and started to transform the way that they're doing things with great resources like Stuart and the team there in place to drive it. And partnerships a key element for us. Martin talked about the growth. We've got over 700 partners already selling in GreenLake, and that speaks to the growth numbers that Martin spoke about quarter on quarter, year on year over the last 6 consecutive quarters, I think. So fantastic statistic there. But you know, in terms of the experience that we've got doing this, HPE have been working since we began the flex capacity model on this, and 10 years now. So you know, a lot of other vendors are coming to market now with a model that's about consumption, and that they're looking to push a consumption model. But you know, be careful to look at what the details of that model are, and what the experience there and the ability to deliver, and what the metrics are that they're measuring. We're able to deliver a true pay-per-use model on premise based on the actual metered usage, and deliver the capacity planning that I've talked about. And of course, we can work across, I mentioned, working across that multi-cloud environment, multi-stack through the GreenLake central interface that allows you to manage and get the insights across that portfolio. And that's allowed us to get to the point that we are now, where we've booked over 4 billion in TCV, and we've got over 1,000 customers and a lot of unique IP. We've made really key investments. So the whole premise of the consumption analytics portal that drives a lot of the information that we're able to collect and use as part of the GreenLake Central portfolio came from a really smart acquisition we made of a company called Cloud Cruiser a few years ago that integrated and became consumption analytics. HPE have made investments into becoming a more cloud-orientated organization through the strategic acquisition of organizations like Red Pixie and CTP, who are prevalent in that cloud market and really give us an understanding of that public cloud experience as well. So and of course, what speaks for itself are our service level. So we got an enviably high NPS score of 86 from a data center care, and that sees us have a customer retention rate very modestly put on this slide of over 90%. I think it's a lot closer to 98% is the reality there. For 10 years, we've had that customer retention rate. So what we're seeing is people who invest in HPE GreenLake come back and invest more, and that goes for our customers. It also goes for our partners who start the journey with HPE GreenLake. Tend to grow from there. Might take a little while to get those first few deals over the line, but once you make that commitment and start to go through the little bit of transformation like Martin talked about, there's some investment to be made, absolutely, but once you get on that journey, you can start to reap the benefits of it. I want to talk a little bit about those benefits for you in my wrap up here. This is a model that was built based on our customers' demands, right? And I know that for each of you, your businesses are driven by your customer demands. So you'll be hearing the same messages as we are. We talked about it at the beginning. We're talking about agility. We're talking about simplification. We're talking about a cloud economic model, but we're talking about the challenge of retaining control where we need to retain control. And that's what we're all hearing from our customers. So it's where we need to head towards. But what we want to do is make that transition as easy as possible for you. So with the HPE GreenLake program for partners, working with Westcoast, you can retain ownership of the relationship. You can retain ownership of the contract with your customer. You can get the economic benefits of, like Martin mentioned, the annual recurring revenue. Yes, but you can set your margins and earn attractive rebates from HPE as well, and experience the growth. So we see on average with GreenLake customers that they grow in terms of that capacity increase of an average of 20 to 25% per annum. So in conjunction with our retention rate, well in excess of the 90% mark, if you're going to retain the customer and get the growth without having to go through the lengthy procurement processes each time, you're in a really good position from the ownership that you've got of the relationship to gain the benefits of that growth going forward. So ownership, economics, and growth are all with you. And here are some quotes that we've had from our partners. The first one on the top left is actually the CGI quote I mentioned earlier, but we've got customers saying here that they were operating at 40% commercial utilization. With GreenLake, it's rising to 100. They don't have to incur egress charges to every time they read their own data, as they may do in a public cloud environment. Cutting the supply chain from 93 days to minutes we talked about. And from a partner perspective, this partner is saying that their customers are finding great success in the marketplace, migrating to consumption-based models, and it's providing customers a level of flexibility through on-premise hardware with cloud-like economics. It's unmatched. And the key thing there that we're hearing from partners is that it's great for retaining their customers and delivering that annual recurring revenue. So that's all that I wanted to cover today. In terms of next steps, I've got here contact your HPE account manager. I think you can safely contact your Westcoast contact as well. Reach out to Stuart, bombard him with all the emails and phone calls. No, seriously, you can reach out to your HPE account manager and they'll work with you and Stuart and the team at Westcoast to help you make the move to on-premise workloads and optimize your cloud experience and the cloud experience for your customers. Thanks very much for listening, and enjoy the rest of the presentation.
Scott, thank you ever so much. Hugely informative as always, my friend. That 90% plus retention rate is absolutely massive. So for an end user, that just demonstrates the confidence that GreenLake delivers and meets all the demands of their business drivers, their business goals. Being complementary towards public cloud, giving the customer a choice, the ability to have workloads in public cloud or in private cloud, understanding that, you know what, cloud's fantastic, but we're unable to put everything in the public cloud. So obviously, as Scott said, apps and data will need to reside on-prem. So how do we support that? We have this private cloud, complementary cloud, hybrid cloud that can support and give your customers that other choice. So David, if you have control of the screen, we'll hand over to you now.
I do indeed. Excellent, thank you, Stuart. Firstly, what I want to do is just put what we've heard into a certain context. What we're trying to achieve is the same effect in our business lives as smartphones have had in our personal lives. So smartphone is a seamless combination of web or cloud-based services and on-device, on-premise functions. But as users, we don't think or care about where whatever we're engaging with is running. We're just focused on the experience. And it's the quality of that experience that's absolutely key. Whether it's, with its hybrid nature, these give us a veritable supercomputer in our pocket. And a smartphone, though, is something that even a toddler can comfortably interact with. And that's exactly what we're trying to achieve here. We want an IT generalist to be able to operate transformational technology wherever it resides, and all on a pay-as-you-go basis. Am I not audible?
I can hear you.
I can hear you fine, but there is a comment in the chat that they can't hear you.
Okay, well, that's the first time I've ever had that, but hopefully I'll...
Can anyone comment if they can hear?
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, we've got some there.
I shall project.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Thanks to those that have answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, whilst, like I say, this whole hybrid environment, the aim is to make it as easy as possible for an IT generalist to be able to handle. Clearly, from your perspective as resellers, you're going to need knowledge and experience to be able to learn how to transact this complete environment. And that's where Westcoast comes in. And here we've got famed 1960s folk band, Peter, Paul and Mary. No, sorry, that's not right. That's not right. This is a dedicated GreenLake team of Claire, Dave and Stuart.
I think it was windy when that picture was taken, David.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on a serious note though, you might have the in-house skills to be able to transact the on-premise element of the complete hybrid infrastructure. But for those of you that don't, you can leverage Westcoast skills and experience, allowing you to make the most of the opportunities, hybrid cloud opportunities that you uncover now, whilst developing the wherewithal for yourselves as time goes on. So, selling hardware infrastructure on a pay-as-you-go basis involves a completely different mindset to an upfront capital transaction. Stuart, as our Westcoast GreenLake commercial lead, will ensure that everyone within your business understands exactly how this works and the inherent benefits. And that covers your sales force, management, and finance teams. From a technical perspective, it's absolutely vital that the on-site infrastructure is tailored perfectly to meeting the customer's business objectives. It's got to be correct from the outset, and then it's got to seamlessly evolve over the duration of the contract. But more than that, you have to know, or your customer has to know, whether their workloads are going to operate properly on premise, in the cloud, or both. Our technical lead, Dave Parks, has many years of experience in providing exactly these types of customer solutions across multiple vendor sets. Vitally, he understands customer needs, even when they potentially don't themselves. And as this is going to be at least a 5-year partnership between you, your customer, Westcoast and HPE, it's essential that the contract element is correct and understood by everyone. And that's the vital role that Claire coordinates. So that's the dedicated GreenLake people, experts in their fields. But there's a multitude of other Westcoast staff that support them at every step of the process. Westcoast are continuously investing in HPE GreenLake because hybrid cloud and consumption models, whilst they're here now, they're only going to be growing into the future. But if you ask them nicely, maybe they will bash out a tune for you. Now, we've spoken about on-premise benefits such as compliance and cost control, but what if your customer doesn't want to have to maintain that equipment or doesn't even have a place in which to put it? Are they going to be excluded from benefiting from digital transformation projects? No, they are not. Okay, now Westcoast and HPE partner closely with global data center and interconnectivity company Equinix to provide the complete hybrid cloud package. Not only can Equinix host customer infrastructure at any one of their more than 220 data centers worldwide, but their cloud exchange fabric can create private and secure connections to multiple public cloud providers without the need for any costly or clunky VPNs. And due to strategic public cloud data center adjacencies and flexible high-speed connectivity, data can be moved easily and cost-effectively between those different locations. Equinix provide a self-service portal that allows customers to have a complete autonomy and flexibility of the services that they use. So for example, cloud connectivity speeds can be altered at the press of a button. And all of this is available in a pay-as-you-use model, meaning that GreenLake and Equinix services are available for you to resell all via a single monthly payment to Westcoast. It's well worth exploring your customers' interconnection strategy, as it's another piece of the pie to elevate your discussions, sell more of the solution on the table, mix my metaphors there, and importantly, help you meet your quotas. Equinix have got a huge amount of sales and technical resource available. So all you need to do is nominate your existing or target accounts to Westcoast. We'll map those with Equinix, who will then call you to agree how they can support. That's it. Okay. So now, when everything is up and running, how does it look from the customer perspective? And what new hybrid tools do they have at their fingertips to improve their world? Okay, this is where GreenLake Central comes in, that Scott was mentioning earlier. GreenLake Central is a cloud-based portal allowing customers a completely transparent view of their apps and data across multiple public clouds and their on-premise GreenLake private cloud as well. Then this is expandable into these different multiple views. For IT operations, there's a complete view into their GreenLake usage and costs. In over 70% of cases, once customers are up and running with GreenLake, familiar with it, and see the benefits of GreenLake to their business, new projects tend to be added into the plan, into the mix, as it were. And adding more equipment to the contract is simply just a matter of putting in a change order into Westcoast. Now, this same facility is extended to the public cloud as well, this same level of visibility. By inputting the different cost metrics for Azure, AWS, etc., into GreenLake Central, your customer can see what they're spending where. Not only that, but an optimization engine helps, well, optimize resources by predicting capacity needs and recommending the most effective and cost-efficient location for each workload. It also better enables IT to work with line of business, so that's sales, marketing, operations, etc., to help them with their desired digital transformation projects. Then line of business can make a clear business case to the finance department. For example, we estimate that this e-commerce web application will increase our profitability by X%, and it'll only cost us Y per month. Okay. Now, I don't need to tell you about the challenges of compliance and the likes of GDPR to organizations. You deal with that every day. GreenLake Central monitors over 1,500 compliance controls over public and private cloud with up-to-date KPIs. And once out-of-compliance situations are alerted, HPE experts work with the customer to remediate them and tailor the frameworks accordingly. The time and costs associated with audits then are also significantly reduced. IT operations has a primary goal, for as long as I can remember, to keep everything working smoothly, to keep the lights on, as it were. But this fundamentally conflicts with software development teams' desired practice of introducing into production a minimum viable product and then regularly improving upon it. But the last thing IT ops want is someone coming along and saying, I need this or that environment and I need it next week. GreenLake Central provides a dedicated login for software development teams to access a self-service catalog where they can select from a range of application tools. In the background, IT Ops will have already templated, predefined, automatically provisioned public cloud or on-premise environments which can be initiated at the press of a button. So saving time and entity grief. Now, GreenLake pay-as-you-go consumption approach to hybrid cloud has been extremely popular for those larger projects, usually about 300,000 US dollars or more, that would otherwise be heavily penalized by over-provisioning, as Scott mentioned. But as we move into a COVID and a post-COVID world, access to capital is obviously going to be restricted. Economies are going to be absolutely relying on SMBs embracing digital technologies in order to kickstart growth. These are going to be sub 200K opportunities, the type of thing that's been largely unavailable on GreenLake in its existing form until now. However, just announced a couple of days ago is GreenLake Swift, which will absolutely address these needs. So digital transformation projects utilizing cutting edge, AI-driven HPE infrastructure of a $50,000 to $200,000 value can now be transacted on a pay-per-use basis. And it's called Swift because, surprisingly, these deals can be turned around rapidly in as little as 3 days. So there's now 3 different ways of transacting GreenLake, dependent on the scale and complexity of the project. As HPE have been the people effectively introducing an infrastructure consumption model into the market, it's been necessary to continuously iterate and improve in terms of strategy and implementation. That's the price you pay for leading the way. But one of these innovations has been the quick quote tool. Whilst more complicated solutions, perhaps those involving third-party products, which can also be included, still need to go away for bespoke pricing, large but simpler bombs can now have a much faster turnaround themselves. GreenLake Swift also
David, just to add, quick quote, you can generate a GreenLake proposal within 10 minutes, and that is an actual statement of works proposal as well. So a fully fleshed out end user document detailing everything about GreenLake, but obviously a bespoke proposal document. We've had a good play around with that, and an absolutely fantastic addition to the GreenLake sort of proposal solution platform. So absolutely brilliant. Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. No. So that's it. The tool itself provides you with everything you need to be presenting to the customer. But don't forget, Westcoast and HPE are also here to provide you with guidance every step of the way. So, regardless of scale or complexity, you can provide your customers with an easy-to-use, pay-as-you-consume hybrid cloud solution that will help achieve their desired business outcomes and free up capital. For those of you that are new to the idea of selling on-premise solutions, hopefully what we've spoken about has shown you the benefits of complementing your public cloud offerings with a hybrid approach. But for those of you only used to selling tin, as it were, I'd like to address what GreenLake can mean for you. So from a remuneration perspective, managed to get that word out, you receive an upfront rebate plus an ongoing monthly annuity for the duration of the contract. But it's a lot more than that. So as resellers, you receive regular reports as to your customers' GreenLake usage. This encourages then an ongoing discussion and collaboration with your customers throughout the life cycle of the project. And that is why 90% of GreenLake contracts then go on to renew. The tough economic times that we're heading into or are in now are going to demand a totally new approach to ensure that your customers are achieving more, but for less. I'm not going to lie to you. Providing all of this to them may mean that you're going to have to start speaking to parts of their businesses that you've never spoken to and about subjects that you're not familiar talking about. You're going to have to not only discuss with them what they need to buy, but understand what problems they're trying to solve and how overcoming those problems will positively impact their businesses. when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, as Billy Ocean so memorably sang back in the 1980s. And it'll be the companies that fully embrace that that become what has been until now a cliched phrase of trusted advisor. And it's those that will survive and thrive in the coming years.
This is it. David, it's key to point out that GreenLake is about the really clever piece that our partners on the call. It's about their relationships with the customers, with the end users. It's about not trying to convert a CapEx budget-driven deal into GreenLake. That can be done. But it's about having an understanding of your customers, understanding their projects, getting in early on the projects, not reacting to it, but knowing what FY21 looks like. You know, what are the key drivers? What are the mission critical projects? You know, we always say deal reg is king. GreenLake, planting the idea of GreenLake in front of a project makes the actual GreenLake process that so much easier. What you don't really want to do, and you can do it, but you don't really want to be in a position where you're trying to re-engineer, you know, and chase yourself around trying to convert and squeeze GreenLake into this. You know, that can be done, but the best way to position GreenLake is kind of really understanding the end users, drivers, but also recognizing the fact that cash is king as well. You know, customers want to keep and protect their cash reserves. So they've just gone through furlough, maybe going through redundancies, not too sure what the future looks like, but still have to deliver those mission critical projects. And different ways of looking at it. If CapEx is a problem, then OpEx might be the option. But as what Scott said before, if you look at a lease model, all you're really doing is really spreading the costs over 60 months. You know, you're not really benefiting from removing over provisioning. And, you know, so GreenLake itself provides that different consumption model, provides a different procurement model, a new choice. But it obviously, you know, referring back to Scott again, that 30–40% saving versus CapEx can really be demonstrated, provided we get into that opportunity early enough.
Thanks, Steve. You just actually rode roughshod over my final comment.
I thought I might do that. Yeah, it's going to happen.
The final thing that I just want to stress again, that we are all in this together. We're all working together as a collaboration. That's Westcoast, that's HPE and yourselves to be able to provide your customer with this, this new reality from them so that everyone can benefit. Mr. Wareham, back to you.
Thank you very much. Do you want to click on the next slide for me there, Dave?
I certainly do.
So firstly, thank you to everybody who's joined today's discussion, today's webinar. Really do appreciate the turnout. Obviously, mindful that you know, you all have busy days, so I very much appreciate you taking the time to listen to what we have to say. Very much looking forward to following up on this with each and every one of you and seeing how we can support you. And let's see what the opportunity is. Let's see how this fits into your business models. I think everybody, as a partner, you would love to have an annuity business, have that consistent billing. And as an end user, I think this opens up a completely different way as to how you consume your IT. So our contact details are on the screen there. If you need to get hold of me, you can via the greenlake@westcoast.co.uk mailbox. That includes, you know, not just myself, but obviously the GreenLake team here at Westcoast. So I guess it's a case of next steps. It's a bit of a call to action. I'm not expecting a GreenLake deal tomorrow on this. What we are looking for, though, is to generate the opportunity, to find the opportunity, create the pipeline, allow Westcoast and HPE to support you in the same way that Scott and David have done much of the heavy lifting on this webinar. Allow Westcoast to do, and obviously HPE to do that heavy lifting with you around GreenLake. For myself, as the commercial lead here at Westcoast, my role really is to provide that enablement piece to kind of help launch your GreenLake practice, to provide that training platform, to kind of work with you on identifying and qualifying you know, the right prospects. Same again, we have, again, as Dave has mentioned, we've already got a fantastic resource. We've got Dave Parks on the technical side of things, who's an invaluable asset to support you in kind of opening up, you know, the opportunity within those end users. So again, thank you ever so much for joining us. I've got one Q&A here. That's all right. Thanks, Leon. Yeah, appreciate it again. And like I say, I look forward to working with you all in the future. So enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thanks for joining us. Thank you very much. Take care.